A plan to rein in ICE in Connecticut is taking a big step forward now at the Capitol. The state Senate passed a bill that could offer protection in our state. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is now suing the state and the city of New Haven over existing immigration policies. Amanda Callahan is your reporter live at the state Capitol right now to explain what happened there tonight. Amanda?
Mark, Senate Democrats pushed through this bill that they say will allow residents here in the state to fight back against ICE if their rights are violated. Meanwhile, New Haven's Mayor Justin Elicker says the lawsuit filed against him and the city is untruthful.
Legislation passes.
In a 24-10 vote, state senators voted to pass a bill they say protects state residents against ICE.
It's a strong statement that we want to close a loophole and ensure accountability when people's constitutional rights are violated by federal officers in Connecticut.
The bill allows Connecticut residents to sue federal agents in state court. It would also make churches, schools, and hospitals protected areas, and agents would need a warrant to enter. But Senate Republicans argued this plan won't hold up in court.
I don't think ICE should do whatever they want whenever they want, but this bill does nothing about that. So there's nothing in this bill that is going to be upheld legally, and the Democrats know that.
Meanwhile, a lawsuit was handed down to the state, the governor, the attorney general, and the city of New Haven and its mayor from the Department of Justice, arguing sanctuary city policies interfere with the federal government's immigration enforcement.
The complaint that's been submitted by the federal government has untruths in it and is misleading.
Mayor Justin Elicker says his city abides by state and federal law. The welcoming city policy is to ensure his residents feel just that, welcome.
When we're working with anyone in the city, we don't ask their immigration status because that is not our job. That is the federal government's job.
The bill will now move on to the House tomorrow, where Senate Democrats say they expect it to pass there as well. Governor Ned Lamont says he supports limitations on ICE. However, he says he needs to read this bill more thoroughly. Reporter live in Hartford, Amanda Callahan, Channel 3 Eyewitness.